Quarantine, you know the vibes. Zoom.
What's up, y'all? It's Solomon. Y'all watching Quarantine Questions with Rap TV.
Yeah. You can quarantine the body, but you can't quarantine my soul.
Yo, what's good, y'all? We got Solomon Sounds in the building, virtually, of course. For those of you who don't know, he's actually the one who discovered XXXTentacion and was his manager during his career. Of course, the hip-hop world is at a loss from the passing of X, and some of these topics might be a little bit hard to talk about, but he left such an impact in our hearts that sharing these memories is one of the ways that we can keep his legacy alive. So with that being said, I would like to welcome you to Quarantine Questions with Rap TV. I'm your host, Pro the GOAT. What's good, bro? How's it going?
What's up, man? How's everything? How are y'all?
It's good, man. Good. You know, chilling. Same old, just another day of work.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Let's start from the very beginning. How exactly did you discover X? Kind of take us back to the first time that you heard of him.
Well, the first time I heard of him, I was in one of the studios that I ran, and a friend of mine was telling me about him, and he was like, "Yo, this kid, he's dope, man. You should go fuck with him. He's locked up, but you could go help him out and shit like that." And he didn't know the kid personally at all, but he knew one of the kid's friends, so he introduced me to his friend, Backwoods Briss. Shout out to Backwoods Briss. You feel me? And I would basically just jump on jail calls with X and just basically just like hear him out and just like, talk to him about really like a lot of things. He was such a complex individual. Like we'd be on the phone all day, like all day. Like he literally ran the phone and we talk about everything under the sun. Of course, a lot of it was career, oriented, where he wanted to go, his vision on certain things. Like people don't know, people that maybe don't know X don't know that he was a mastermind. Everything that he did was like carefully planned out to the T. So a lot of my job was just taking my marching orders from him and just like, helping execute his vision to the best of my ability, because he was really, really, really a genius. Even when he was locked up, the ideas that he had for music videos and songs and albums, like a lot of that came from when he was locked up. Like, he would always say like he's trapped in his own mind, but like his mind was limitless, and the things that he was able to come up with and see and figure out, like he had such a great understanding of the world for such a young person too. Because mind you, at the time he was really young. He was like 18 years old, 19 years old, and actually just turned 18, I believe, and at the time it was just like so surprising for me because it's like, like he had this big understanding of like the world and spirituality and like how to evoke people's attention. And he was growing. Like there was parts of him that was still immature because of course he was a young teenager, but he was growing and like metamorphosizing at such an incredible rate. Like one of my biggest blessings in life has been the ability to stand next to this man, although he was years younger than me, and to learn from him, to observe him, to learn fearlessness from him, because he was fearless. He wasn't afraid of anything. It was really just like, the only thing I could equate is like watching like a young Pablo Picasso or a young great artist in any field, just kind of like getting in their groove. Because at that point, although he was incarcerated, like he was just like getting the attention, and people were just understanding like how really dope he was. So like there was a lot of people after him, a lot of managers that were more seasoned than me and had a lot more experience and money and whatever the case may be. But we definitely had a connection. And before I was into music, I was studying law. So it was more than just about representing his music career. It was about just helping him all the way, in life. And I'm like that with, every artist that I deal with. So just as important as getting his music out was getting him out. So, I took my last little bits of money, scraped, stole, borrowed, did everything I could to get some money to, get this lawyer that was able to, get him out of jail. And from then, we literally just hit the ground running. But he was just always just so appreciative of that. And, he he was like a great opportunity giver, because I'm able to do so many amazing things now by just the blessings that, was bestowed upon me by the opportunity just to work with him. I'm able to help save so many young lives, and, give so many artists opportunities, and, even opportunities for myself and my family, and, being able to take care of my mother and my family and my loved ones. And just, I owe a lot to him. So I'm very grateful for it. And it's been an incredible ride, even post-humanist. You know what I mean? It's been wild to watch. Sorry, I fucked that word up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was really the beginning. I know I probably went off on a tangent.
Oh no, it's all good, bro. So I love to hear it. But another question that I have for you too is, obviously, you had interned at labels before. You had worked as an A&R, and you had dealt with different artists in the past. What I want to know is, what about him stood out to you than all the other artists you had previously worked with?
First things first. And just looking at him, he was striking. Like, everything about him was striking. Everything about his resemblance to the way he spoke, to his music, was so memorable, so unforgettable. It was like, whether you liked it, whether you loved it, whether you hated it, whether you was terrified by it, it made you feel something. Like, a lot of times, like, artists are, I guess, trying to blend in and trying to fit into some type of, like, box or whatever the case may be, and ultimately it makes them forgettable. Everything about him was really memorable, and from the way he looked, to the music, to how serious he was, to how crazy he was, to literally everything. So that was literally what struck me first, was like, that was special. But musically, right after hearing Look at Me, I heard I Don't Want to Do This Anymore, and then I was like, oh, this is a genius, because I heard Look at Me and I loved Look at Me. I thought it was a great record. It was a incredible record, nothing like it. But it allowed me to kind of dive deep into everything else that was there. And Look at Me was just the surface. Look at Me was, like, even down to the title of the song was brilliantly executed for people just to pay attention to him. You feel me? For people just to give him his moment's notice, so he can take that little 15 seconds where people pay attention to Look at Me, and give them things like Riot, give them things like Sad, give them things like Moonlight, give them things like Remedy for a Broken Heart, and just like, all these, just incredible records, like, you know what I mean? Like, like, just even in the really early beginning, just in LA, we worked out of like Nightbird Studio, where he created 17, with the help of like John Cunningham and Ron Perry. And, it was just an amazing experience. I remember he was up for days and he didn't even sleep. Our first studio session, I Lie to You Not, was probably like 3 days. And, maybe he slept like for 30, 45 minutes a day. He just had so much to kind of like get out. So, like, just everything about him was just really, really, really special. Like, you could be
in those 3 days. Oh, my bad. In those 3 days, how many records did he cut?
Honestly, he probably did like the majority, like the skeleton. He definitely did the skeleton of 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Okay. And that was like, his debut album, the album that was really special, that he loved, that really, really kind of like solidified him.
Yeah, for sure. And then you said that when you first heard of him, he was locked up, right? So like, when did you actually physically get to meet him for the first time?
Well, that's kind of like a twofold question. The first time I saw him, like, was he was locked up, and I spoke to him behind the glass, and that's how those visits were. But the first time that that we actually physically saw each other with no glass or no confinement was the day he got out of jail. And yeah, like I remember, like, there's a clip of the documentary where in the trailer for the documentary, where you kind of just see me run into him and just hug him and just like scream out like, my nigga, with just such excitement, because I was just so excited, because at that point, like, I just knew that we were a part of history. Nobody knew where it was gonna go ultimately. You just knew you were part of something special.
And obviously, when you first discovered him, you knew he was a star and you were trying to sign him. But I want to know what those conversations were back at the label headquarters, when you're trying to like work your way into like, yo, you guys really have to sign him? Like, what were those conversations like? Was anybody against that?
I mean, I think truth be told, a lot of people were against it. A lot of people were afraid of him. Nobody knew who he was. He had negative charges against him, so there was a public persona that was, mostly negative. And I think a lot of people were afraid of that. But he had the brilliance to know that he wanted to be independent, so it made it our job a lot easier. Me and Bob
Mm-hmm.
Celestin, who was a lawyer, to kind of figure out who was the right person go with. And, we ultimately went for Empire, and Ghazi was a tremendous partner throughout everything and super supportive. And, he really grew with us and, made sure that he did, all in his power to support Ja, while he was alive. And just even after he passed, he's always been supportive and just always been like family to us. So, that's how it started out, because Ghazi wasn't afraid. Ghazi was just as courageous as Ja.
Yeah, and then when you were looking for lawyers too to defend them, I'm sure the retainer fees were like $20,000, and you only had about 5,000. How did you leverage getting lawyers to defend them when you didn't even have that much money at that time?
Well, I mean, again, it was kind of like complex, but I tried to like sell the situation like, yo, this is going to be a very public case. If you defend him, it's going to be, it's going to bring a lot of publicity your way. It's going to bring a lot of publicity your way, and telling the lawyers things like that, and ultimately telling them that I would get them more money if need be, when it came to that, and ultimately Robert Trackman was receptive to it, and he supported a bunch of other friends of mine that ended up catching cases in Florida. So and they all had really severe cases, but I would see them home. It would be like magic. So I called him, and he got it, and by God's grace, he was able to help Ja.
So when you first found out about him, like, was this before or after that Adam 22 interview?
This was after that.
Okay, so you watched the interview?
Yeah, I watched the whole interview.
Oh, okay. Did anything stick out to you from that interview? Because that was
Every single thing that happened stuck out to me. Like, I watch interviews all the time, and I probably don't think to this day have I seen a more dynamic and wild interview than that. So, of course, it was like you saw that, and you had a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
But ultimately it went back to, yo, this kid is striking. This kid is special. Like, also you hear him speak, like there's an intelligent mind here. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's a little bit lost, or maybe it's a little bit misdirected, but there's a lot of intelligence here, and that's what I ultimately got from it.
For sure. And then, like you said, there was a lot of negativity in the beginning surrounding him, and people were like trying to discourage you from working with him and everything. And obviously, you try to help him out and give him advice whenever you can. When the whole Drake thing happened, like when he was dissing Drake and stuff, like, did you have any advice for him during that time? Like, what were your thoughts during it?
Well, at the time, I was thinking, and truth be told, I was thinking like, yo, hey, maybe let's not be negative at first, because if like maybe we can get together with Drake, and maybe we can do an official remix or something like that, or we could just do something. We could spin it in a positive way. And his response was, like, I'm in this situation. Drake is so powerful in the business, so all this, I don't have an issue with him stealing my song, but it's just that he kind of just ignored me in the process. It'd have been different if he'd have been like, yo, hit me up, or try to just like touch base with me, or, try to, help me out in my situation, or just even shine some light on what I was going through, or shed a spotlight on what I was going through. Because he's like, I could have respected that, and I would have fucked with him. But because it went that way, he decided that, he was going to, show and prove that he wasn't afraid of anybody. Again, like I told you, he was fearless. So, even the biggest, iconic Titan artist in the world didn't strike fear in him. And I think his fans were really, really, really moved by that. So they supported it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many times that, his like, you know what I mean? Like, like his fans supported him. So it wasn't a situation to where like he was on a lonely boat saying fuck Drake. I would be at concerts where 2,000, 3,000 people would be screaming out fuck Drake. To be honest, I never thought I would see the day where I saw something like that. But just, and that's nothing against Drake. but it's a testament to how powerful his fans were, because his fans would have said fuck whatever, was against him. You know what I mean? So it wasn't against. So it's not nothing against. Like I said, it's nothing against Drake, but it's just his fans were just that loyal, that diehard, that rabid, that much of a cult fan base that anything that was against him was wrong.
Yeah, to the point where it even reached Drake's ears. Because I remember OVO Sound Radio, he actually went on there and even, like, addressed the situation. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. But like I said, it just goes a testament to, it's just a testament to how, like, serious and, amazing his fan base is and was,
For sure. Yeah, no doubt. And let's talk about his first tour. Do you remember his first official tour? What was that like?
I mean, like, I'm assuming, like, you pick your craziest rock band from the 80s and their tour didn't have shit on the Revenge tour. In terms of excitement, danger, and just things along those lines. Like, the Revenge tour was literally one of the most iconic tours, and everybody that was there, caught a piece of history.
Yeah, for sure. Were you able to make a lot of the shows, or?
Make a lot of the shows. I was on a bus with them. I was on every single show. I was like, I'm like, I don't know about like other managers or how other people do things, but like I'm hands on. I'm everywhere. If my artist is somewhere, I'm there. You know what I mean? Like if there's a show, I'm there. If there's an important session, if there's something there, I'm there. And because of how X, like I was with him during everything. I spent as much time as I could. You know what I mean? Like with him. So the whole Revenge tour, I was there for every little bit of it, and all the good, the bad, and the ugly, we were there, and we endured it as a family.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And then since you were on the bus with him and you were on tour with him, how was he like on the road? Did he record a lot? Was he just enjoying himself and partying a lot? Like, how was he on the road?
Well, I mean, I think he wasn't really partying that much, but it was just, there wasn't even much space to like party. We would literally go do a show, dip, and you know what I mean, rinse and repeat. So there wasn't even like there was that much of a party situation. Mind you, he wasn't even 21 yet, so it's not like he was doing clubs and things like that. He would just do his show and just go back to his hotel, you know what I mean, bring all his friends with him, and just he just wanted to share the experience with his friends, and I knew he enjoyed it. It was an amazing experience. The energy that he got from the fans and the energy that he gave back was amazing to watch and be there and to like passively receive. But there wasn't a situation to where he was like, like he wasn't like partying a lot. It was just more so of like focus. He was there like on a mission. Like he was there to touch those fans. You know what I mean? Every single night. Like he was making sure he took care of himself, took care of his voice, made sure he was resting. So every single night he can give 110%.
Yeah, and I'm sure he considered you somewhat of a mentor to him as well. Were there any advice that you can remember?
Him a mentor, to be honest. You feel me? Like I think I can do the other way around, bro. And hindsight, looking at it, because like I said, like I've always had a bit of fearlessness in me, but he's the one that really brought it out. You know what I mean? He was not afraid of anything. You know what I mean? He was strong as a person. Like in stature, he was small, but he had the spirit of a giant. Like if you could understand that. So, I tried to give him the best advice that I could give him, and I always tried to do my best by him. But like I said, it's like, I wouldn't even consider it like a mentor type situation, because, it was a two-way street. Like I was giving him everything I knew about the business. I was like making sure he knew everything, making sure he was ahead of the curve, because like the seeds of brilliance were already there. I was just trying to just give it as much water and sunlight as possible. You know what I mean? And I don't want to take any credit for his genius, because it was just pure unadulterated genius. And you know what I mean? Like I'm, even to this day in my career, I am who I am because I get to stand on the shoulder of a giant. So I in no way, shape, or form want to try to take any credit for that. Like I just did my best to help however it was. Like, don't get me wrong, I think I'm cunning, I think I'm smart, I think I'm a great manager, I'll do whatever it takes, but it's like, you know what I mean? He was fucking it. Like he was it. That was like, you know what I mean? He was fucking it. Like there was no stopping that.
Yeah, and in the process of you trying to give him advice whenever you could, was there anything you were able to talk him out of that he wanted to do?
I mean, a lot of things that I'm not going to mention here, absolutely. You know what I mean? But Definitely. Listen, man, he would take advice when it made sense. You know what I mean? But he was a thinker, and he's somebody that would question everything to its core. You know, but he was also smart enough to know when somebody was giving him advice that was in his best interest.
Yeah, for sure. And then speaking of advice too, like obviously you knew the whole situation that was going down in San Diego and like, the rivals he had and the beef that he had. Did you try to talk him out of going to San Diego when that happened? Like him like on stage and that whole thing happened?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did for selfish reasons because, there was a time before I was working with Ski Mask and, there was like a situation where, he got hurt. And that's like the scariest thing in the world, man. Nobody
Hell yeah.
nobody wants to see, their artist, their brother, their friend get hurt. So, I was thinking like, yo, fuck it. We could just maybe shut that shit down and come back at a later time. But again, this man was fearless. So he wasn't with that. He wanted to go and do the show and be there for the,
Yeah.
just the huge amount of fans that were there and they was dying to see him. And, in the space, we were getting death threats, like all types of crazy
Yeah, I
shit.
bet.
You know what I mean? So it was scary for us all, but I was like, yo, if you going, I'm with you 100%. You know what I mean? No matter how ugly that the shit would have got, but we were just, there together and, nobody expected that would have happened like that. It really happened in the flash of the eye, but it just was what it was. And, he wanted to get up and continue the show, even though he did get up and continue the show. But, because of the circumstances, the police ended the show. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man. And then you believed in him so much. You believed in him so much that when he finally did sign to you, you took a flight from New York to Florida, round trip, with nothing but a neck pillow because you were just going to sleep in the airport, right, for him to sign with you. How did that happen? Tell us that story.
I mean, well, at the point it was like us going down to like meet face to face while he was locked up, and he was going to sign our management agreement. We wrote it together on the phone, and I didn't have no more money. Like I gave the lawyer bread. I didn't have any bread, so there was no hotel, there was no nothing. I remember I was supposed to link his mom Cleopatra for dinner, and I remember ended up like not even linking her because I ain't have no bread, and I didn't want to seem like a bozo. You know what I mean? So I ended up not even linking. But I just, that's all I had. All I had was enough for that round trip ticket, and I'm pretty sure I held that. I borrowed that from my man. Shout out Justin Moore. You know what I mean? But it was just like just about getting there. You know what I mean? At that point, it was just about like just surviving till we got to that point. Just to till everybody saw what I saw. You know what I mean? And I'm still fighting the good fight because unfortunately the whole world doesn't see what I see yet. There's still a lot of naysayers. So we're still fighting that fight, trying to make sure that legacy is like preserved in pristine condition.
And around that time, I'm sure he was getting deals left and right, like offers, like, "Hey, do this. Hey, sign with us." Like, what? How were you able to convince him? Is there something specific that you told him to actually go with you?
To be honest, I'll keep it a super buck with you. Outside of helping him get out of jail, I took half. I took half of what normal management percentage should have been.
Oh, okay.
So it was just being honest, it wasn't much nothing crazy to it. I was just like, yo, bro, I don't care, bro. I'll do it for shorts, bro. I just want the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then honestly, like, I know you were interested and you said you were working with Ski Mask at one point too. What was that conversation like when you first approached him?
Well, at the time he was staying at Bruno's Porno House, and he was just a big ball of just potential, man, and he wasn't in a space, I don't think, in that place to really like live out his full potential. He needed to tour, he needed to release more music, he needed to ultimately get a deal, get some real money in his pocket and really get started. So I helped him get started, ultimately, I love him to this day. Like, we ended up like splitting ways, parting ways, business wise, but, to this day he's like a dear friend, and, and I love and I appreciate him for the opportunity to work with him, and just, I'm cheering him on. I think he has a new album coming, and I know it's going to be incredible, and everybody needs to go get that shit when it drops.
Facts, man, facts. And then speaking of X's mom too, like I see a lot of controversy online, and I don't even know where it comes from, but I see comments all the time saying like she only cares about the money, this, that, and the third. But obviously, you know her personally. Do you agree with everything she's done regarding X?
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something about Cleopatra. Cleopatra is probably one of the best people that I've ever met. One of the most giving people. One of the most just loving and caring and nurturing people that I've ever met. Like
Mm-hmm.
Cleo loved her son as any mother loves her son.
Mm-hmm.
Cleo was a young mom, and at the end of the day, X was this ball of energy, and there was times, of course, they didn't see eye to eye, but they loved each other. Anybody who knew him knew
Mm-hmm.
that there was nobody more important to him than his mother, and it was the same thing for her. So she's been doing the best with what's left to her. A lot of X's fans are young kids, and they don't understand business. They don't understand like that he had obligations that he agreed to while he was
Mm-hmm.
alive, and in order to continue to, like preserve his legacy and to make sure that his legacy grows, there's things that Cleo had to do. Cleo had to get music out and put things out. And,
Mm-hmm.
I think she's unfairly judged for a lot of the things. And because she is like, honestly, when everything was getting started, like, he trusted Cleo with everything. He started Bad Vibes Forever, which is his company, with Cleo, his mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day,
Okay.
like even when, even before, like long before he passed away, like Cleo has basically been my partner from the very beginning. Because when I first met him and was first talking to him, like I would hang up with him and be on the phone with Cleo. So Cleo was
Mm-hmm.
involved with everything from the very beginning. She was in all the decision making process. She was involved with everything. So like even though
Okay.
I told you before, like I ain't link her because I was broke, but like that just goes to show
Mm-hmm.
you how highly I thought of her even back then. You
Yeah.
feel me? Because at the end of the
Of
day,
course.
she was just so involved. She was doing so much shit. Like let's keep it a buck. Like X had a checkered criminal history to say the least. You know what I mean? But like the
Mm-hmm.
last time
Yeah.
I helped him get out of jail, he was arrested dozens of times before that. Who helped him get out then? Who was there doing
Mm-hmm.
all that? That was Cleo, 100% of the time, supporting him, being there for him, good, bad, or ugly. You know what I mean? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, unfairly judge her, but have no idea of the situation that she's in, and have no idea the amount of courage that it takes to stand up after your son is done, and to, be at the helm of his business
Mm-hmm.
to grow it and keep it going for his child, for his fans, for his family, and for the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the world. To be honest, like people don't understand what a ridiculously difficult commitment that is. Like even after X passed,
Facts.
there was a long time where I felt like I couldn't even be on social media because I would just see his
Mm-hmm.
face everywhere I turned, and it would be gut wrenching. So if I feel like that, imagine if I birthed him.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the strength that it takes for him to get up and take those awards on his
Yeah.
behalf, to put out records on his behalf, to work on the documentary on his behalf, to basically pick up all the pieces and continue all the things that he started. Because at the end of the day, she's not doing anything on her own accord. She's just
Mm-hmm.
finishing everything that he started for him.
Yeah, facts, and carry on his legacy as best she can, no doubt. And then obviously you were one of the few people that really knew him really well. Do you have any funny stories that you could share with us?
To be honest, man, I'm trying to think. There was literally so many because he was such a funny person. Like, you know what I mean? He like everything. Like, you know what I mean? When the moment wasn't serious, everything was a joke. You feel me? There was nothing
Yeah.
but like good times and laughs and that type of situation. Wait, hold on 1 second.
Somebody calling you?
Yeah. So,
Oh,
there
okay.
was nothing but like he was a jokester. Like, you could just look and see his personality online when he's laughing, when he's joking, when he's pranking his friends, when, he's just doing whatever. Like, one of my most memorable, most funny moments was we were in the La Montrose in LA, and
Mm-hmm.
he was recording 17, and we just had, he used to order a ridiculous amount of food and like tip the people that brought food thousands of dollars. Like he was just so giving and so loving. And I remember one day, like they just brought breakfast, and it was just like a breakfast fit for like kings and queens. It looked like we were about to feed the royal family. And then we
Mm-hmm.
ended up having a food fight, and all that food was all over the hotel, all over the walls and everything. And, you know,
You said he would tip them $1,000?
Yeah, he would do crazy shit like that all the time. But for him, that
Wow.
wasn't
Okay.
crazy. He was just trying to share the blessings. He was just trying to give back to people. And, all those people, if you ever would see them and ask them about him, they would have the nicest, most amazing things to say about him because, he just did that out the kindness of his heart. He would sit down before he even ordered anything, just give them a tip like, hey, I hope you have a great day. I hope, if there's anything I could do to help you. And that's how he was. Like after shows, he'd yell out his phone number so fans could call him and be up all night
Really?
talking to fans. Yes. And be up all night talking to fans. So this is like some uncanny shit. I've never seen shit like that. But when you see, it's been 2 years since he's been gone, but look how much he's loved. You know what I mean? The love hasn't
Yeah.
dissipated for him at all, and it's because he was that way.
Yeah, man. It just seemed like he was such a transparent person, and like there was so much authenticity when you saw him and when you heard him. Everything he said was just him, and that's what it was. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Is there anything else like that he did? Like he would give out his number, like at the end of the shows, like he would do stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he would definitely do shit like that all the time. He would just be so. A lot of artists try to be elusive from their fans, and he was the
Hmm.
exact opposite. He would DM his fans, he would text them, he would call them. They would literally be on the phone all the time and just building with each other all the time. So, you know,
Okay. So would he have to change his number a lot, or not? Because
no, he
people
would just
kept
have
calling.
mad phones. He would just have mad phones, but he would never
Okay.
change his number. He would never close his doors to anybody that, he loved or that loved him.
That's amazing, man. And obviously, like you said, you were on tour with them before. Has there been a fan encounter? Do you remember anything specifically where somebody like broke down, or like a vivid memory that somebody, embraced them because they changed their lives?
Listen, man, his show was all, people broke down at his shows in many different ways. People cried,
Mhm.
people broke bones in the mosh pits. Like, people, like, it would be an emotional roller coaster for everybody in there, even the security guards holding the rail would be watching him in
Mhm.
awe as he's hanging upside down and performing and doing these crazy stunts. It's like, it was just amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then, as far as like your relationship with him personally, did you guys ever have any inside jokes or anything he teased you about, or?
I mean, he made fun of my name a lot. Like, it was just all jokes, but it was just beautiful, man. It was just beautiful. But yeah, man, you about to make me cry, so I'm not gonna go into it. But
Okay, no doubt, man. But all we do have is memories left over. And I know you have mentioned before that X has enough material to put out two more albums, if you guys wanted to. Is there anything else you could tell us, like about stuff coming up or any song collaborations or when the next album is supposed to be coming
I
out?
mean, I don't really know, like like with the music. There's like some bits of music that's left, but I think everybody should just more so focus on the documentary that's coming.
Okay. And is there a date for that to drop? When's that coming out?
There's not an announced date, but we're gonna announce that shortly. And I would really like everybody to just kind of like focus on that. And after the
Okay.
documentary, there's gonna be more amazing things to follow. Maybe not necessarily music, but just a lot of amazing things to come. So, his fans won't be without, X content for too long.
Facts, man. And his fans are like family. Is there and they're watching this right now. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell his fans?
Well, the only thing I would want to say to them is thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your unwavering support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for making sure that our guy stays an icon. Thank you for helping him become an icon. Thank you for all you do and your continued support. And, I wish I could talk to you all. And, if there's ever anything I can do, if you guys ever want to hit me, hit me. You guys know the ones that do hit me, I talk back. I respond as much as I can. And,
Hmm.
you guys are literally the most amazing fan base in the world, and I love y'all.
Man,
And
well,
thank you
thank
for
you.
helping us carry the torch.
Yeah, and thank you for your contributions, man. Thank you, for the role you played in his life and helping bring so much change and so much positivity into the world through his music. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. I'm about to
All
enjoy this
right.
beautiful LA weather.
Bet. So once again, I'm Pro to Go with Rap TV, and this is Quarantine Questions. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and notification button to stay up to date. We're dropping interviews all the time. Make sure y'all go get that Rap TV merch at rapart.com and join our community by texting 908-341-0067. And as always, don't forget to smash that like button. And one last time, let's give it up for Solomon, y'all. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man. Peace.
You can quarantine the body, but you can't quarantine my soul.